Okay, so thanks for having me out. Thanks for an invitation. Thanks for coming out to meet me and hear me talk. I'm going to start this talk like I start all the talks when I'm formally speaking, is don't believe anything I have to say. If something I say rings true, ask Creator, ask Spirit if it sounds true. Or another source that I go to is Google. Google works. So if you ask Google a question, if you ask it in the right way, you can answer it. And the universe is the same way. So I think I'm gonna approach this by someone I met here today who has not seen the video. So I'm gonna just go back to the basics, and so assume that I'm speaking to someone who doesn't know anything about me. So I'll just give you a little bit about my background. I was born in 1962 in the barrios of East Los Angeles. It was a drug and crime infested place, and people pretty much didn't think out of the box there, but I did. I used my imagination to get some education and experience, and I trained myself. I was a firefighter and an emergency medical technician, and in 1985 I moved to Yosemite National Park and got a job with the concession there as a firefighter and a security officer and an EMT. And you know, LA, where I was born and raised, was a beautiful place, and there's a lot of opportunity there, but I'm someone who found even a better place than that. And so when I came to the park, I was just like blown away, and I decided that I didn't want to leave. And you know, looking back on it, people come there from all over the world, and it takes someone with a big imagination to just get there and say, oh, I'm not leaving. So I came to Yosemite in 1985, and I decided I didn't want to leave, and it's not someplace that you could just do that. So I had to come up with some way to figure that out.
Now,
and
now you know how we feel, because we don't want to leave either.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for coming. I really appreciate the visit. Yeah. Thanks.
Love you. So good.
So awesome.
One more applause for the music. So, well, what ended up happening is I married into the Yosemite Indian tribe. The mother of my children is Yosemite Indian, and when I met her, I was like, this will give me the permanency that I need to have to be able to stay in this place. And so right after we met, we started doing the Yosemite Indian ceremonies. We have ceremonies that we practice throughout the year in Yosemite, and a lot of you know what Yosemite is. It's a really amazing, magical, energy, spiritual place. And doing these ancient ceremonies, we do the bear ceremony, we have a big time, we have a walk. So it's something that connects you to spirit, it connects you to nature, it connects you to the universe, and so it's part of who I am. It's why rainbows come to me. So I married into the Yosemite Indian tribe in 1986, and started having kids. I had a daughter in 1987 and a son in 1989. And in 1988, I bought this land that I filmed this video on, and it was bare land, and I turned it into a farm. And so I've been living these ceremonies and this culture and this Native American spirituality, and rainbows have been coming to me for a long time, and I started seeing them as signs. And so I'm just going to go into like what this double rainbow was about. So there had been some rainbows before, and I had videos of them. And on January 8th, 2010, I was writing an email saying how I felt like I was Noah, because I have my own farm. I have my own well. I have fruit trees. I have greenhouses, and it felt like an ark. It felt like an ark. Like it seems to me like there's going to be a big change coming, and having a piece of land with your own well on it that you can grow food seemed to me kind of like Noah. And I wrote an email saying how I felt like I was Noah. And right when I sent that email, my house fills with color. And I know this. I know this because rainbows come to me all the time. So I grabbed my camera, and that's the video. I turn on the camera, and you're seeing through my eyes. You notice in that video, you don't see any people. So what's going through my mind is, I just compared myself to Noah, who was a prophet of God who saw a rainbow, and there's a rainbow out there, and I shot it with an old camera, so you can't really see like what I saw. But it looked like a giant eyeball. It was a whole wall, a plate of color, and it looked like an eyeball miles across. And I'm like, that's why I said, "Oh my God," because there's a giant eyeball miles across in front of me. And I'm like, that only God can have an eyeball that big. And so I just finished saying how I felt like I was a prophet of God who saw a rainbow, and there's one right there in front of me, and it looks like a giant eyeball. Oh my God, that's God right there. And that's why I'm freaking out, because God is right there in front of me. And where I live, you can yell and no one will know. So I'm used to having this like sense of privacy, but not only privacy, but you can express yourself any way you want and no one will know. So it's like a freedom that you have because you're all alone. And so I'm shooting this rainbow with my camera, and I'm just trying to hold it because it's so powerful. And the video starts with I'm behind a tree. When I get past that tree, you don't see it, but I get pushed to the ground, and I'm flat on my ass in front of this rainbow, and that's when I start crying, because God pushed me to the ground and said, "You're not going to stand in front of me." And yeah, that's what this whole thing is. I mean, I shot a video of God and put it on YouTube, and it's why I've gone all over the world. And in the video, I say at least a couple times, what does it mean? Because I'm asking, why am I in the presence of God? Why does God choose to be in front of me? And I didn't know what it meant at the time, but then it took 7 months for the video to go viral. But when it did, it was countless interviews. And in the first interview, someone asked me, did you expect this? And it was interesting because I heard myself saying things that I didn't really realize. And so I started saying these things, and then I was like, oh, I have to know what this whole thing was about. So I started investigating. I started praying and speaking to Spirit. And where I live, it's not like, oh, I'm going to pray now. It's like your whole existence is a prayer. You're just in Spirit. When you live in nature like that, you connect to Spirit a lot easier, and you're connected all the time. So I started trying to understand why I had been in the presence of God, and then I came to the understanding that it's because I have a message. I have a message to give humanity, and so I had to figure out what that message was. And you know, dealing with the media and with press and all that, they want bullet points. So I distilled it down to some bullet points, and I'll just give you those now. The bullet points that I came up with was: love your fellow man, walk gently on Mother Earth, connect to Spirit, and that I am only a vessel, a spirit, a servant for humanity. So the first thing is love your fellow man. Love is the most important thing. And so that's what you guys are about, and it's no coincidence that we connected and that I'm here speaking tonight. So it's been interesting, the things that have come out of this. You know, right away, as soon as the video went viral, everyone wanted to talk to me. I was just doing countless interviews. It was like nonstop, and it's slowed down, but it's still going on. I just got back from Boston. Last time I was here, I was flying to Boston, And it's interesting because when I flew to Boston, I checked into my hotel, and I went outside, and on a bench there was a newspaper, and I was on the front cover. So I mean, and the thing that's so interesting is I never wanted any of this. I never tried to do it. It's just something that happened and flowed through me, and it's because I made myself a vessel. I made myself a vessel for spirit, and have dedicated myself to serving my fellow man. And so much flows through you when you do that. So that's kind of what the Double Rainbow video is. There's tons of things that are behind it. When you say love your fellow man, that's the most important thing. But then there's like walk gently on Mother Earth, and that is like don't be materialistic. Think about what the impact that you're having on the mother. And one of the things is I don't fly. I only fly when someone else pays, because then I'm doing it in service. But I don't go anywhere by myself to fly. I don't take any trips like that, because flying is really consumptive on the earth. And then the other thing is connect to spirit. They're all kind of connected. So you can connect to spirit just by loving your fellow man and being in nature. So those are the bullet points, and there's a lot of things that go off of it. So I'd like to make this an interactive thing, and if people have questions, I'll go off on the questions. So I kind of told you what the thing is about and a little bit about my background. But if there's anyone who has questions, and I'm sure so many people do, a couple questions that I get asked the most is, was I high? And I always say, I even said this on Jimmy Kimmel, was not on that video. But there's other videos. So in 2009, almost a year before, a rainbow came to my front yard, and I call that Giant Intense Rainbow. It was a single rainbow, and me and my son were high on that video. And it was interesting because we were on our way to this ceremony called Dream in a New World. It was a shamanic ceremony where we were going to put our hopes and dreams and intentions into these crystals. And we would go back every 2 weeks and pray over these crystals and try and make our dreams come to fruition. And so we prayed over these crystals for 3 months. And then at the end of those 3 months, on the spring equinox, we took those crystals and we buried them in the roots of a fruit tree. Or actually, we planted the fruit tree with those crystals. And a year later, then Double Rainbow came in. Everything that I had said came true. It came to fruition. And when the first rainbow came, we were on our way to that ceremony. We were just gonna walk out the house, and there's this rainbow. And it's interesting, that was single rainbow, and then Double Rainbow came almost exactly a year later, and it made it so all of humanity knows who I am, or a big part of it, and more people are finding out all the time.
How many hits?
My channel, my video has 34 million views, and there's hundreds of songs. One of the songs has 30 million views, and when you add it all up, it's hundreds of millions of views. That's just on YouTube, and it's also been on CNN, Nightline, Good Morning America, and Jimmy Kimmel many times, and Jimmy Fallon, and Tosh Point, and it's just endless, really. It's been on so many TV shows, South Park. I was a question on Jeopardy twice. Modern Family, Cougar Town. I mean, I could just go on and on. It's interesting. Yeah, just think what it's like to be me. So the thing is, I can't own any of that. I just have to let it flow through me, because it's too much. You can't understand what it means, I mean, why does this whole thing happen? I mean, yeah, it's you know, I compared myself to a prophet of God, and yeah, I'm giving this message to humanity, but it's just like, it's so much, and I just, countless times I've been in these situations where it's like, this is too much, I can't take this, you know, and I just have to tell myself, you know what, I'm just letting it flow through me, because you just have to write it, because it's just too powerful. And so that's part of what I'm doing, and it helps that I was a professional fighter. It made me tough, and so yeah, things, you know, now, like I did a commercial with Jennifer Aniston. I'm just going crazy because it's Jennifer Aniston, right? She's so smoking hot, and I'm just like, ah. And I'm just trying to be cool and all that, you know, and I'm doing this intense scene with her, and what's going through my mind is, I've been in a locked cage fighting a real fight. If I can do that, I can do this. That's helped me through a lot of the tough times when it was just like so overwhelming, some of the things that's gone on. So does anyone else have any questions? I can go on about some stuff.
Yeah, tough life, me and Jen.
Yeah. Well, I do have it pretty good. Yeah, you know, I live on a farm. I live by myself. It's beautiful there. Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering, I was watching the video and I noticed a lot of the noises you were making seemed like you were in between like a spiritual experience and a neurotic experience.
Yeah. Okay, so I get asked, everything you guys are going to ask has been asked a million times, but and I talk about it in my videos. Okay, so what happened in that video is I opened up my soul, and I'm a very sexual being. So yeah, you get that because I'm not holding back at all. I'm letting it all out, and my sexuality has to come through because I'm completely open. So that's why a lot of people see that or experience that in the video. And another part is a double rainbow is a mirror of itself. When you see it, the opposite, the colors are on the second one are mirrored. And so what my video is a mirror for your soul. And so things you see in it is what's in you. So yeah, so if so if you pick up on the sexuality part, that's also in you. You know, most people, if they're lucky, they have, you know, a decent amount of sexuality because it's a good thing, you know. And that's part of one of the things that I'm supposed to relate to humanity is that sex is a good thing. You know, it's a beautiful thing and it has its time and place, and it definitely has its boundaries. But it's a way to express your love to your fellow humans. So, and one of the interesting things I've been seeing about Berkeley and in this house in particular is that the gender lines are blended here. And I was thinking about this as I was sitting here, and it's like, you know, the old things the old customs that we had, it's like no longer applies. And now it's okay just to love your fellow man. It doesn't matter about gender. We're just loving each other's soul. And body parts are just body parts. But if you can just love the soul, it doesn't really matter which body parts you have. So. So because I wear a lot of rainbow colors, I got asked by people who don't know me or don't know the video, oh, it's so great that you're so proud of your sexuality. And I'm like, what, you don't know who I am? Yeah, I'm double rainbow. Single rainbow is the gay, but I'm double. I took back the rainbow. And now it's just about loving your fellow man, not just loving your same sex. So. Well, I'm glad you guys are laughing. So, does anyone else have any questions? So we're a bunch of you guys are coming back with me. We're going to go back to my farm, and we're going to see. I'm taking people to see the Lunar Rainbow. Yeah. So that's another thing. It's like when I say something, it's interesting because like when I say profound things, a rainbow will come, and I see them as signs. You know, in the Bible, there's it talks about how the rainbow meant this certain thing. Well, it means a lot more than that. Now I can see them as confirmations. It's spirit confirming the things that you say, and you can say you can learn something, and if you are questioning whether you believe it's true or not, you can ask, and sometimes you might get a rainbow, or you might see a shooting star, or you'll see a butterfly land on you. So the spirit will confirm you, and that goes back to the thing that I was saying is don't believe what I have to say. Test it yourself. Ask the spirit, ask the universe, just say it out loud. Whatever you have a question about, you could just say it. And then just look for a sign. And sometimes that sign could just be you'll feel a burning in your chest, or you'll see some physical manifestation, a rainbow or something like that. So that's all. That's what that means. So does anyone else have anything they'd like to hear specifically about?
Tam mentioned that you always knew something incredible was going to happen to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could speak to that.
Sure. Well, I was born in LA and I came to Yosemite, and Yosemite is so powerful. And I was doing these Yosemite Indian ceremonies, and I'm making myself this vessel. And there we go. Okay, so I knew that I had a purpose. I didn't know what it was, and I'm doing these things like I have an organic farm, and I'm working towards alternative energy, and so I knew that something was coming, and I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't know what it was or what it was for. But I could feel it, like a lot of people can feel right now that there's something going on. Sensitive people feel there's a huge change coming, right? So. Rainbows started coming more and more and more, and I was like, this means something, and a lot of things were happening. I have this organic farm, and people were coming and volunteering, and it's mostly beautiful women, and I'm like, wow, what is this? I kept saying that in 2009 over and over. It's like, what's going on? What does this mean? Why are all these beautiful women coming to me? And so I mean, I have a video where I talk about that, but everything that I say is already in my videos. It's like, that's part of the thing that I wanted to tell everyone about is the power of the internet. The internet is humanity's combined consciousness. Someone from another planet could come here and they will know about humanity because of the internet. And so things like YouTube is our memory, and Facebook and some of these other websites are our active consciousness. So this is why I record everything, because it's a way to share your soul. You can share your soul with your fellow man and with people in the future. So it all ties in. So what was the initial question? I was kind of went off in a.
We're talking about knowing something big was going to happen.
All right. Yeah. So
inside that manifest.
Right. That was one of the first questions that I got from a reporter. Was this a surprise? And it was interesting because I heard myself say no. I knew this was coming. People have been watching my videos, and we're always entertained with them. So I knew something like that was going to happen. I mean, I didn't know exactly what it was or how it was going to come about. But when it was there, it was like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. And when the video went viral, my reaction was, it hit. That's it. Yeah, this is it. This is what it was. And a lot of my friends who really knew me said, oh yeah, this is it. Yeah, you've been saying this for a long time. This is gonna happen. And so, yeah. And so, anyone else have any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
So, do you have any stories of people who have come to more spiritual awakening because of this, or is there somebody that saw a video and then was reminded about something greater, or do you have any stories?
So it's about spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
the video is a way to connect people, and people sense that there's some spiritual aspect to it. It's not everyone. A lot of people are closed off, they don't get it, but pretty much everyone is affected by it in some way, and they don't know why. And it came about because, and I just spoke about this at this conference I was at in Boston, whereas I said that I'm here to bring spirituality to the internet, and that's the internet. Like I just said, the internet is humanity's consciousness and their collective memory. So I shot a video of God, and and that's why it's done what it's done. And there's not really any other explanation for it. I mean, there's people send me videos of double rainbows all the time, and it's not the same thing. And mine's is special because of where I live, and because I have an open heart, and because I'm fearless. I don't see any videos with there's always telephone poles in them, or houses, or they're in their car. You don't see any. It's just the rainbow. You don't see any like that. So it's interesting to me because anywhere in the world now, and people see a rainbow and they think about my experience and they relate back to it. And even if they're just mimicking me, they're saying my words, and it's like a prayer. You don't have to know, you don't have to believe what you're saying. As long as you say it, you're walking down that path. Right. And so if I can get people walking down this path, maybe they'll all of a sudden go, ding, oh yeah, that's what this is. Or slowly they'll come to it. But the thing is, I'm turning people on to this whole path that they can start to walk down. So yeah, it's a way to bring spirituality to humanity. And so another thing about the rainbow is, I think it represents like the different colors of man. There's all different kinds of colors to man, and what a rainbow comes from is from one light. It comes from the light of the sun, and it's split up into these different set spectrums. So that those different spectrums represent the different peoples. There's all different colors of peoples, but when you take it back to its source, it's still one light. It comes from the light of the sun, which represents the light of God. So that's there's a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, there's a Native American rainbow prophecy about the rainbow warrior, and there's some drawings and stuff that I've seen that are pretty old and going around the internet. And when I seen them, it was like, oh, that's a drawing of my daughter. It's like we're here to give this message to humanity. And it's not just me; it's me and my children who are Yosemite Indians. So we've been practicing these ceremonies, and it connects us to the earth and to Yosemite, which is a very powerful place. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask about, you said you're doing all these different rituals to cleanse yourself, to become a channel.
Yeah.
I got that message a long time ago that this isn't even about me, that this is about me being a conduit, of allowing something to just come through me.
Right.
And genius musicians that I've seen, and some people are just, it's like they take themselves out of it, and that they're just this vessel, and then something just magical is coming through them.
Right.
And you talk about all of these rituals, and you've mentioned these different things that you're doing, and I'm just curious a little bit more about those things.
Sure. Okay, well, the Yosemite Indians have a very ancient set of ceremonies that we do throughout the year, and those ceremonies are based in Yosemite, which is a really powerful place. So we have the bear ceremony. We do that 3 times a year. In the spring, we wake the bear up. In June, we have big time, and we have a bear ceremony to celebrate the bear. And then in the fall, we put the bear to sleep. And in between that, we also have a walk that goes across the Sierras, and it retraces the path that the Indians use to trade from one side of the Sierras to the other. And then we have spirit camp. So we have all throughout the year we have different big ceremonies, and then every other week we have sweats, which my kids and me all participate in, and my kids have been doing it since they were in utero. So it's something that it's all inclusive in our life, and it's not a religion. but it's a way to connect to spirit. It's a way to get grounded. So yeah, go ahead.
Would you say that spirit and the earth are sort of the religion, or like if you were gonna kind of try and put spirit into words, would you say it's honoring earth in this tradition?
Yeah, I mean, I see it all as one. The spirit is all around us. The earth represents the goddess, Mother Earth, and everything around us is spirit, and we are children of spirit, of the sun and the earth. We're the children of that. So I mean, it's all inclusive. And the other thing is I don't like definitions and I don't like labels. So it can be whatever it is to you, So I don't want to say what something is. I just say how I live my life, and how I live my life is I'm continually in communication with spirit. I live in a way where I don't hear any fire trucks or any helicopters, and, so it allows you to just be opened up. When I come to the city like that, I just feel this energy in it. I feel like closing up, So it's harder. It's harder living in the city. It's harder in some ways, It's harder to connect to spirit, because when you are farming, you're connected to the earth. When you can see out and not see anything that's man-made, it changes you. It changes your way of thinking. It changes how you are open up. So, anyway. Anyone else have any questions? I could go ahead.
You mentioned the intensity and power behind that realization.
Yeah.
Of who you be. Do you ever wish that you had a different life?
I've never thought of that. No, my life is what it is, and when I had got to where I filmed the video, it was like I had already done everything that I wanted to do in my life. I was out of wants. That's another thing that I talk about in my videos a lot, is give up wanting. Stop wanting and start doing. And if you can live your life in service, amazing things can happen. I mean, look at me. And that's how I live my life. I had got it. Okay, I'm going to go to this little thing right here where so I drove truck, from a long haul truck, 48 states in Canada, from 1994 to 2004, 10 years and 1 day. And when I started driving truck, I was 265 pounds. When I stopped driving truck, I was 465 pounds. And I realized that it was going to kill me, and so I stopped doing it. And I knew that I was close to death, or that it wasn't very far off, and I thought, you know what, I have to fight for my life. And I told myself, if I'm going to fight for my life, I'm going to fight for real. And that's why I got into cage fighting. I got into cage fighting so I could lose weight, and because it was fun. And it really worked. See, I told Daniel Tosh, I said, you'd be surprised how pleasurable it is to get punched in the face. And he said, oh, I'll stick to masturbating. So I lost. So in 2004, I was 465 pounds. And I got into cage fighting, and in 2009 I had gotten down to 285. So I lost 180 pounds doing cage fighting.